It is the society and how we portray the truth, how we tell the truth, that will heal us together. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Macaroni, for basically opening up our eyes and our mindset to a totally different.
Every time you are saying we are opening their eyes, opening their eyes.
Our mindset.
He closed.
Thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the goal was that at the end of today's panel discussion, every single person seated here today is going to leave this room impacted and with enough knowledge to basically go back home and impact and imbibe into the work that you're doing in your various aspects of life as well. And I can say for a fact that our amazing and formidable team of panelists have done justice to this. Please let us, with a resounding round of applause, celebrate them for coming here to share from their wealth of knowledge. On behalf of everyone seated here today, I must say we're really happy to have had you and had this conversation with you. Thank you so much. Please let us celebrate them one more time as we take our pictures and take our leave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think some people have questions. So we'll just take, yes. How many questions can we take? Okay, we can take 3 questions. So I can see the lady there. Okay. Okay. Let's start with the lady over there, then we'll go back. Okay, it's fine. Please proceed. Thank you.
My name is Anita Anaidawa, and I'm a film student at Pan Atlantic University. So my question is for Miss Hamisha. Your films, your 2 films, Namaste Wahala and Postcards, I want to know like what inspired you to do films of interracial relationships, not just for like let's say a non-African woman and an African man, but like of precisely an African woman and a non-African man. Because when Namaste Wahala came out, a lot of my friends were having discussions that most of the time it is black men going for non-black women. But I like that you specifically chose to tell that story because it is the reality for a lot of us. So I want to know what inspired you.
Thank you for that. So first, the Indian man and Nigerian woman, to answer that question, is my reality as I'm an Indian living in Nigeria. So I also believe when you're storytelling, you tell your reality, your authenticity. And this also covers a little bit about what we discussed earlier, which happened in India and happens in Africa as well, in the trajectory of how India is portrayed. Back in the day, a lot of it was poverty and the roadside and, you know, things like that. And in Africa, sometimes it's the animals and, you know, like there's just stereotypes. So when I made Namaste Wahala, it was also important to make sure I showed my reality of Lagos. I love Lagos. I love living here. I wanted to show the beautiful beaches, the beautiful restaurants. So it was important to do that, number 1. Number 2, it was also very important that my protagonist was a female. And again, I'm in Nigeria. A women empowerment, the women had to be Nigerian. It was actually a non-negotiable for me on that one. So those were really the 2 reasons. And then as and how we move forward, I needed, of course, like I said, I did the escapism when we had the dancing around trees and the love. But as and how we were writing the story, I needed the woman to portray herself the way she is. Because for me over here, I think Nigerian women are some of the strongest women I know. I love that in our industry, and it's not the same actually in India, because when we did Postcards and I flew our team to India, the majority of my crew were male, whereas I find here in Nigeria, the majority of leaders even in the film industry are women. So I really wanted to celebrate that both on screen as well as behind the scenes.
Can we have the second question? Okay, there's a lady over here. Apologies.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Tom. What question? Translation. A minha questão é,
my question is
se já que eles estão falando sobre narrativas sociais,
Now that you are talking about the social narratives,
se eles acreditam que para fazer narrativas que tenham impacto social,
do you believe that in this narrative that can bring positive impact,
é preciso descolonizar a cabeça.
it's necessary to decolonize our ideas?
É isso.
Is it necessary to decolonize our ideas in these social narratives?
Okay.
That's the question,
Is there any
please.
particular person the question is directed at?
Você está
Oh, todos.
para todo mundo. Oh, sorry, to everybody.
So I think we'll just have one person answer. I see the gentleman smiling at me. You must want to take this one.
No, well, fella they call it Kolo mentality anyway. If we have to borrow from Chimamanda's perspective, which is the danger of a single story. You know, we've had our stories told singularly by other people that we need to, if I have to quote him again, decolonize that mentality and to tell the story not just from the Namaste's perspective, but again from the point where we need to tell them originally that our stories are authentic. Our stories are not laced by Antichrist, you know, be it the trend of the social Gen Z narrative, or like I would say, go back to the beginning, you know, which is the way of life as you started. And not arguing with my brother Macaroni, we will do a luta. But the key thing again from his question, my answer will be yes. If you don't know your story, you can't tell your story. And what you will have to tell are the very cosmetic narratives around you. So you must do what we call criticizing the most critical analysis, which is understand that part of your backyard, if you understand backyard narrative. What is your story? Own it. Then when you begin to tell those stories again, you begin to have metamorphosis as opposed to transmogrification. So yes, we have to tell our stories, decolonize ourselves, and then tell the story the way we should tell the authentic story. Yeah.
And I'd like to add to that just a little, it'll be quick, but I think that's one of the reasons why I gave the example of Hear Word. I don't know if anybody in the room has seen the play, but they actually use it.
Yes.
Yes, they actually speak in pidgin. They actually dress, you know, like, it's like monologues and little, little scenes where it's actual acting out the story. It's them wearing their traditional outfits. It's them speaking about the issues in the villages, but also in the cities, in terms of our culture. It's really embedded fully in our culture, and Auntie Informa Fafunwa does an amazing job in telling that story from a very decolonized point of view. So I think that's a great example of what he's saying and of the question.
Thank you so much, YIBO, for that very, very robust and comprehensive answer. And of course, thank you, FIFEHAN, for your contributions as well. I think we have time for just one more question before we call it. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Folakemi. I'm a faculty at the Pan-Atlantic University. Talking about cinema for change, you know, how do we make the money? I mean, we're saying cinema for change, we want to drive change, we want social consciousness and all of that. Is that what the investors are going to listen to? How are you going to make the money? You understand? And if you say that entertainment is like the crust, for example, in a pizza now, entertainment is the crust and then the topping is the social consciousness and all that. But is that what the investor wants to listen to, you know, basically? I mean, for theater, it's probably easier because, I mean, maybe you can get a sponsor and you're not going to, your revenue is not going to be based on whatever you're going to bring back. Probably you get other ways to, you know, fund it and all. But for cinema, I mean, what you see is what you get most of the time. So how do you make the money, you know, still having that social consciousness to do cinema for social change? Thank you.
I'll quickly speak to a couple of things, and I'm sure there's many people in this panel that can address that as well. So there's a lot of organizations right now that are investing in entertainment media that is commercial and that is bankable, but exactly, but it's sending it's based on a sustainable development goal of some sort, right? They're actually actively looking for content that is commercial, right? That is going to go into the cinemas, and they want to invest in those kind of content. There's an actual like movement towards that ongoing right now with, international foundations and partners, and obviously, if it's financially viable in terms of if it's going global, if it's on multiple distribution platforms, then you will get an investor, the same investor that will invest in in an Anikulapo or in a Funmilayo Ransom Kuti film will invest in that. In fact, those are films that are actually social change films to a certain degree. So just letting you know that it's actually something that's priority, right? We're having a session, for instance, this week around faith-based filmmaking. They want it to be commercially viable. The people who are looking for those films are looking for films that can go on the big screens but have a conscious message embedded, but is entertaining. It has to be entertaining. That's the only way we'll sit here and actually consume it. If it's not entertaining, then people will fall asleep, or they just think of it as just another, and it won't even sell, right? So it's the entertainment factor, being able to artistically infuse your messaging into that. And there are people, like I said, funding that. There are even trainings and opportunities. If you're interested, please, let's have a chat after.
If I may, let me just add to what Fife has said, particularly her last point, because when you're asking that question, that popped up in my head, which is, I don't want us to sit down in the audience here and think this panel is all about socially conscious stories that are only going to inspire a change in mindset. It doesn't have to be boring, it doesn't have to be a documentary. It can be equally very entertaining,
but it's just there.
But it is a story that is going to inspire positive change in the society. Our big sister, Ego Boyo, is in the audience. I remember about 3 or 4 weeks ago, her movie was a closing night film. It was very educative. It was about, a policewoman who was trying to help a single mother who had lost her child. I mean, at that time, we had rampant issues of kidnapping. It brought a lot of awareness to that issue, and also the fact that regardless of, the perception or reputation of the police force, you still do have some good ones who actually are committed to the cause of what they're supposed to be doing. So don't assume that if we're speaking about culturally shape-shifting movies that they have to be boring. No. Yeah.
Just a quick add to that is because of the topic of social narratives, we focused on that. But I also think it's very important to have a business segment to your movie. I think that business degree did help me in the long run, because as much as she said it needs to be entertaining, you do need to have a business plan. There needs to be a viable way. How do you plan to sell this? Actor, is it the story? I mean, I believe entertainment and business has to go hand in hand. So the story is so important, but it's also important maybe if you're not into business and you're more of the creative, maybe have a partner that is a finance expert. So that way you have that balance. And for me, my message is always very subtle. I try to have, like, even with postcards, it was about, be healthy. It was very basic, very simple. But the story was Auntie Shola Shobowale along with the doctor and their conversation, which was very intriguing to listen, just hearing them talk. But the big picture was, look, her son, who was, not able to get hold of her right at the end because she was in operation. What was that message at the end? It was about thinking about it later on while actually just enjoying the movie. So.
Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. And of course, thank you so much for your contributions. I hope that your question has been addressed sufficiently. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a resounding round of applause, let us celebrate our panelists for that very, very impactful session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pictures, please. Thank you so much. We will have a short break now. The next session will be by 2:15.
Question is about having